guess you call them paranormal experiences or near-death experiences. And I'm trying to create a version of that process that's more fun now that I'm writing genre fiction that's more fun. So the same thing is true for what I'm going to be doing going up north to this writing conference. We're going to be talking about emotion in literature and getting rid of this false idea that you can be objective and unemotional as a way of being more logical or more mature than everybody else around you, right? It's sort of a dissociation from feeling. It's based in a trend in science and art in mid-century, 20th century. But just like I was a little concerned that my writing might keep turning dark if I keep using the same creative process based on odd experiences that inspire my work, but then they turn out kind of sad or heavy like real life. I'm kind of concerned about the same thing with my poetry writing in this weekend session, because a lot of my memories are attached to something kind of sad no matter which direction I take it. So I wanted to explore other emotions than the obvious ones for poetry and other than the obvious ones for my life. But I'm not sure if I'm going to have to limit it or go kind of ambivalent on like mixed emotions to get through it. Because, for example, I had this lovely memory of being in a family friend's summer cottage in Eaton Rapids. Michigan has all of these old religious summer camps where people would go from a church and spend all summer there sometimes in their summer cabins, but they'd have a lot of church services and they'd have a lot of church-oriented talks, like people would come up and give talks and stuff like that. So this couple, these family friends, lived in one of these, I think it was Methodist, summer camps. So my lovely memory is just of sitting in their cottage, which was this like cedar shingle, narrow thing with really cool pass-through closets upstairs, like hidden doors. It was really cool. But just playing with one of those old-fashioned toys where you have like a wooden board with nails stuck in it in a grid, and you put rubber bands over it in patterns to make different color, like shapes and stuff. I was playing with one of those, just listening to the rain. But that incredibly cozy memory is then attached to the fact that it was a church camp, and that photo they took of the Sunday school class that I had joined just for a couple weeks that summer was the last place I ever really felt like I belonged in a Sunday school class. And I was like 9. So that raises two more problems, which is the first one I named, with the emotion getting heavy if everything has a sort of bittersweet attached memory to it. But also, I can start sounding pretty silly when you say, oh, I don't feel like I belong in Sunday school anymore. Which is to say, it doesn't make any sense to people why I would even be sad about certain things unless they know how horribly it fell apart and how crazy my family turned out to be and how dangerous it was, and then we're right back to the heavy subject matter. So while last year at this conference I was exploring how much I wanted to be vulnerable and open about magical practice or anything emotionally in my writing, I was still just sort of deciding where are the boundaries. This year I'm looking for where are my new boundaries, I guess, for writing fun literature that doesn't drag my entire past into it, while on the other hand none of it makes sense unless they tell you the truth. And it's not like I didn't do anything wrong. It's not like it's something shameful for me. It's just hard for people to hear about it. I have a life story that it's not like it's all bad. Some of it's privileged, but it's so difficult in some aspects that a lot of people worldview or their sense of safety, particularly spiritually or particularly around trusting family or church. So, see, this already isn't fun. You see what I mean? I'm going to see if I can go explore this in a way that is putting my inner child first, I guess, if that doesn't sound too silly. Like, what works for me, and then we'll figure out what works for you. Because I always do it the wrong way around. As evidenced by these videos where I'm asking you what you think. So, I just drove past a sign that said, "Get a therapist that gets you." Yeah, that is kind of what I'm thinking, is there's a limit to how much people can relate to a story if they don't have any context. And one of the reasons for being a writer is you can bring them into the experience that led you to your perspective so that you can understand each other better without them having to have had the same life experiences as you. So it is a way of bridging a communication gap. But as a child, before all this craziness happened to me, I really just wanted to be a writer to be able to share my own beautiful experience of the beauty of the natural world with other people. Why I thought that was necessary, I don't know. I think I just sensed that I had a more sensitive experience or physiology, which is true, I do. And that people could experience more beauty in life if they saw it through my experience. It sounds terribly arrogant, but I guess being a writer is arrogant in the first place. thinking that what you have to say is something that people need to hear. So, what am I trying to say? I guess this year I'm excited because I'm exploring layer number 2 in that really important equation of asking myself, how vulnerable do I want to be? How much do I want to talk about the background versus the creative work? And I'm already answering that for myself in the sense that last year the decision surprised me to actually pull back quite a bit rather than open up. So I don't know, you might see me kind of vacillate on that choice because there's no point in being a writer if you can't write about what's really in your heart, but I think I'm pretty happy with this choice because it wouldn't have been necessary to make unless there was a reason I needed to change what I was doing, basically.